Hello, everybody. Last week I promised that I'm gonna be, giving lectures on circumcision. Today is the day, and then I'll be sharing with you the history of the circumcision, and then the languages that is spoken within the circumcision school in South Africa. Before I commence with this presentation, it's very important to know that this presentation, it's educational video. It's meant to convey the importance of circumcision within our society, since the circumcision has actually, it's a very contested territory. Things have changed because of the change that we have within the societies. I must also emphasize that for those who are not familiar with South African history or cultural history, it's also necessary to highlight that the Bantu people of South Africa don't practice genetical mutilation of the woman. So, though we have got female circumcisions in South Africa, but unlike in many parts of Africa where the women will be genetically mutilation, in South African Bantu, we don't have those schools. It's not all coastal Ngunis, the Sotho Tswana from Highveld and Lowveld, and the vendors in Shangaan don't practice female genital mutilation. It's not African culture. It's not a South African culture. It's uncommon in the context of South Africa. So I want to highlight the things. So another reason which is very important is that the circumcision in South Africa, since there's been a lot of things that have been said about these Asian practices, where many parents now are losing children, because of the illegal and legal butchered circumcision, where some predatory, initiate the so-called initiation school principal or people who are claiming to be the true custodian are abusing or actually taking advantage of the vulnerable situation. So many people have been killed. Some of them have also been, abducted. Some of them are rights are violated. A lot of things are happening under the name of circumcision. So I thought maybe it would be much better maybe to just give you the history of this practice. The languages that is spoken, where this practice actually emanated from. Who inspired these people to practice circumcision? Who are the real custodian of Koma, also known as Babina Koma? So I'm going to be actually discussing some of these subjects in this presentation. So let's start. So far, not social historian and anthropologists have been able to establish the exact origins of the circumcision in South Africa. So it's still difficult to establish where this practice originally come from. However, I managed to establish 3 forms of circumcision school that are peculiar in South Africa. Namely, we've got the Sotho Tswana of Highveld, a school of circumcision, which is about rite of passage. Secondly, we've got Lemba Semitic schools. Lemba, it's Lemba are the black people who are found in Limpopo who have got Semitic traditions. So that's second circumcision. They are usually, distributed within Limpopo province. Even though we do have them recently, they moved to Gauteng in the 19th century. And then we have got Southern Nguni schools, which is associated with Xhosas. Those are 3 prominent schools. This school actually informed or inspired other schools. So I understand that many people say, why don't you mention Ndebeles? Now, I want to emphasize this. The reason why I didn't mention Ndebeles and Southern Sotho, there's a reason for that. The reason why Ndebele are auxiliary tribes of the Sotho Tswana from Highveld. So originally, Ndebele don't practice circumcisions. It was unheard of. I'll explain further. Similarly to Basotho, Southern Sothos, Southern Sotho don't actually practice circumcision. What you see today in the circumcision schools among Basotho, it's a Sotho Tswana. Sotho Tswana in this context, I'm referring to Northern Sotho and Western Sotho, who are Batswana. Northern Sotho are heterogeneous. Northern Sotho, for example, Pedis, Batlokwa, those are the part of Northern Sotho. They are also found in Western Sotho, who are Batswana. Many Batswana recently are no longer practicing circumcision, simply because Batswana are the earliest Sotho Tswana people to convert to Christianity. So missionaries web it. They discourage circumcisions because of it was a sacred school. So the Lemba school is unique compared to the Sotho Tswana and coastal Ngunis, because that one, like I said earlier on, it's a ritual based. It's about being a Lemba, And another thing is about age. Most of the people who go to circumcision among Lemba are young kids, the infant, when they are young. Whereas among Sotho Tswana, it's about rate of passage. So you have to be in a certain age, maybe over the age of 12. If today you go around the village, you find young boy under the age of 10 being circumcised, it's not a Sotho Tswana culture. It's not a Venda culture. It's a Lemba. It's a Lemba. But if it's done by Lemba, it's a Lemba. But if it's done by the Sotho Tswana people, it's not. That's abuse of culture. Circumcision, unless it's done in the hospital. But if you go to the circumcisions, you find people circumcising young kids, claiming that these young kids will become a man. That's not a South African. It doesn't belong to South African circumcision schools. But however, it's related to Lemba. But Lemba do it ritual based, which means that when they circumcise young kids, infant, they are not intending them to turn them into a man. Now, the Lemba school of circumcision is presided by, it's called Mula. Some Venda people can call it Murundu or Ngoma, but Lemba people call it Mula. The word Mula, it's a Semitic or Arabic term, actually meaning derived from the word Mulan. Mulan, it's a chief.